magnetic field of the earth was actually holding it up. And so it was protecting us as well as it was keeping it up. And I'll show you kind of how that works with this video here. What he's doing is he's putting this piece of metal on a magnet. And you can see that it's not, sticky. He's getting ready to pour in liquid hydrogen. Liquid hydrogen is extremely cold.
You're looking at about 423 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit.
Creating the metal from sticking on it, from actually propelling it. And this is kind of sort of what happened. This magnetic or crystalline structure of the firmament was actually resting on top of the Earth's atmosphere, floating on it from the polar ice caps in the electromagnetic field above. So, and before this, there wasn't need of rain. The Earth didn't need rain. It didn't need to fertilize and water plants and to where it does today. It was completely different type of atmosphere. With the not need of the rain, what happened was there's mists and there was fog that would continuously water everything. But there was no need for rain. That's why when Noah came up to his people and said, "There's going to be huge rain. Come up, hurry up, hurry up." They looked at him like he was crazy because they'd never seen it before. They knew that there was small droplets that had come, and dew and humidity, but they'd never seen rain actually come from the sky. So in that, out of how many thousands of years that the Earth was old that they had lived there, they thought that there's no way. On top of this as well, before the flood, and while this firmament was over the earth, animals and plants and humans lived to be, as we can see in the Bible, lived to be over 1,000 years old. There is cases in the Bible that have men living 700, 800, 900, even up to 1,000 years almost. And so this kept since it was a perfect atmosphere, it allowed you to continue to live. And once this broke, what happened was when this sphere that you see over the earth, once it broke, it actually allowed the water to come down, and that helped out with the flood. The water is not just on the earth, but the water from on top of the earth and the firmament actually broke and started coming down. The hydrogen molecules that was crystallized into this metallic form actually mixed with the oxygen as it fell and created water, and that created a pure and perfect flood. From that, and that's how we get it from all over the earth, how the flood actually saturated the earth was from that instance.
So Noah's flood actually is a direct result. God used the changing of this firmament to create Noah's flood.
Right.
So I want to go a little further into the scientific part of the firmament here in just a few moments, but as you're talking here and you're talking about this firmament being a protection and allowing life to live in a perfect manner. What I see spiritually is I see a picture of the law. The law itself was designed to give man protection. When God gave Moses the law was there to teach us and to show us how to live a productive and prosperous life. When you look at, as simple as the Ten Commandments, we base our law systems and we base all these things on the Ten Commandments. Why? Because they are a perfect law. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, don't murder, don't covet. All these things are perfect rules and perfect laws that transcend time. It's not a time frame thing. If you can live a life this way, you're going to live happier, less stress, less emotional problems, and a better society. I also see when I read, when I look into the books of Leviticus and Deuteronomy, especially Leviticus, the first time I read it, I hated the book of Leviticus. It was horrible. It was hard reading. It was difficult. But then I began to read through it, and I began to find all of these rules, all these laws that we have. And I began to find laws about mold. The laws about mold astonished me, because here God was giving law to the children of Israel thousands of years ago, before the scientific knowledge that we have today. And he's telling them that if you find mold, you've got to count that as unclean. You got to get away from that, and you got to. And he got all the structure to cleaning the mold out of buildings or cloths or anything else. And now we know that mold is a very deadly substance. It's something that more so than they even knew at that time was a very deadly thing that could kill us. I've heard of homes that have been invaded with black mold that have been condemned because people couldn't live there anymore because it was dangerous to them. God's law was a perfect law in that it provided for their protection before their own knowledge provided for their protection. Through things like mold, through the touching of dead bodies. In the law, to touch a dead body you were unclean. You could not do certain things. Why? That dead body carried things that were harmful to us. And so I see here in this picture of God creating this firmament, I see a picture of the law. As God said, look, I put a law around you. Now, the law itself is it's not the power. The power is what we talked about last week. It's the light. It's God himself. But the law creates a shelter for us. It creates something for us to hide under and grow under. And the law shows us that we can grow to be old. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long on the earth. I tell my kids that all the time. If they honor me, they'll live longer. If they don't, well, then it's going to shorten up a little bit. But, it is, the law is there to protect us. It is there to help us, just like this firmament was. Now,
the word firmament actually means to compress. It means have an arch or an expansion. So the compress and the pressure, you can put that with the law too.
Oh, exactly. It holds us together. Mm-hmm. And that is what makes our society work, is law. Our society, our social structures work because of law. If you're written or unwritten, our social structures, our society, our churches, our families all work because of laws. We have certain things in each one of these that are built in that hold us together. And God's law is the all-encompassing one that compresses us together and keeps us in one unified body of believers. Now, with this firmament, I want to get into just a couple more, maybe a little deeper here on what the firmament was and how it was. We know that the firmament changes with Noah's flood. Understand that it changed. That was the firmament of that crystalline hydrogen that you were talking about. What did that look like the sky looks today? Is there a difference in the way it appears?
The sky, the reason why you see sky as being blue when you look outside is because of oxygen. And oxygen has a blue tint to it. When you have it with light, oxygen has a slightly blue tint. Hydrogen has a pink tint. And so what scientists, creation scientists believe is that the sky was actually a pinkish color. Kind of like it is when the sun is just rising in the morning and it has a slight pink tint, or just setting. A lot of people believe that the sky was actually a pinkish color more than blue.
So there was a different look. So a different cause brought a different look. Now, when I hear that and just thinking here, and we're talking about the law, when Noah's flood came, it was because of the lawlessness of the generation. And Noah's flood changed a lot of things. Number one, Noah's flood did away with this firmament, did away with this protection. It said, look, you're going to survive, but it's going to be different now. You're not going to live as long. It's not going to be the same setting. I personally believe, and I don't know that I can prove this biblically or scientifically, you might be able to help me. I personally believe that pre-Noah's flood, man was vegetarian. I believe that we had not began